Okay, so this is the supplemental review of the Nikon D850 because everybody keeps asking me, and by the way, don't ask me questions about, well, should I sell my so-and-so camera? Answering questions like that are unethical. I never tell anybody, hey, go sell this crap to buy this crap. That creates problems galore, and it's absolutely unethical. Just make an informed decision based upon the facts, logic, common sense, and hopefully testing on your part. You know, think about, because what you need to shoot, because everybody asks me, like, what's the best lens, best camera? It's like, what do you shoot? What's your budget? Someone says, what's the best lens? What do you shoot? What's your budget? You know, the needs of the wildlife sports action photographer is not the needs of the product photographer and portrait photographer and landscape photographer. What's the best? What do you shoot? What's your budget? Those really are the two questions that nobody ever answers, and they have to give me that information. Otherwise, I can't give an intelligent response. Comparing the Nikon D850, now it's $3,300. Some people comment, well, that's kind of expensive. Expensive relative to what? Nikon drastically beefed up the internals on this camera. I've seen the teardown video on it. I would love to tear down one myself. So it's a flagship built camera. Do you know how much the Nikon D3 was when it came out? I've only named 3 cameras legendary, and as you saw in the prior video, so when I did the full review of the D850, I am calling the Nikon D850 legendary. I reserve that camera, that title, in my reviews anyway, for the D3. The D700 is just a baby D3, by the way. D700 renders perfectly, but calling a camera legendary means something other than, yeah, the D700 renders just absolutely incredible. Just straight out of camera, though. But I mean, as far as the camera as a whole, I mean, to call a camera legendary, I mean, it has to cover a lot of damn bases. Not just one or two, but the whole damn field. I call the Nikon D3 legendary. D4, D4S, basically the same camera, legendary. I call the Nikon D500 legendary as the first person to review it. Everybody said it was full of poo. That was insane. $2,000, ridiculous, crop sensor camera. Nikon has sold the hell and gone out of that camera. I mean, just whew. Like somewhere over in Thailand, someone is cracking the whip on making D500s. This is the 4th DSLR camera from Nikon that I can call legendary, and I thought about that over and over, pound in my brain. Now, so let's compare this to Nikon D500, Nikon D810 so far as value. If you don't have a camera at all right now, and I got a couple of Nikon D500s. The camera's recording my ugly face right now as a D500. D850 wildlife advantage over the D500. You have more room for animal movement, obviously in a larger sensor. So the exact same resolution, but a different sensor technology, which is superior, has better gain, sensor side per unit of time and per aperture than the D500. Most importantly, two points. D850 does not clip specular highlights like the D500 does. Means the specular headroom is better on the D850. D500 was kind of like the tall man in the little hobbit house where he's always hitting his head on the ceiling. You get my point? And really importantly, which I just discovered this today, the D850 has better shadow clipping, or lack thereof. In other words, it's actually able to see a tonal gradation in the low light. That's awesome, and that's definitely due, absolutely due. It also could be due to the signal processing firmware post-sensor, and as far as the image being clocked off the sensor and how it's processed, but it's definitely due to the BSI sensor. Now here's a trick question. Which camera has more megapixels, the D850 or the D500? Well, D500 is 20.8 megapixels, this is 45.6. Per unit area, the D850 and the D500 are identical. That's why you stick this camera in crop mode, it becomes a D500. Except it renders images better than the D500. It has better specular headroom. It has definitely a better shadow detail as far as the tonal gradation. If you're shooting low light, or you're shooting like low light fine art, where like you got a naked body, for example, maybe just like a rim of lighting, all those tonal gradations, you want as much tonal gradation in the shadows as a lot of that defines the depth of a shot, and that does exist on the D850. More so than it does exist on the D500. The D500, of course, is less than ideal for portraiture and landscape. I mean, this camera, D500 is $2,000. This is $3,300. The one question people have been beating me over the head about for all these years, like, I want one camera, it does this and this, and it's like, what doesn't exist? Professionals need 2 cameras, right? A backup in case you drop it, a baby pisses on it, whatever. Lost, stolen. And so to cover all their bases, if they shoot multiple types of photography. And one camera that's special, like the D500 for your sports action wildlife, and a D810, which is perfect for landscape and portraiture for knocking off the weddings. They could both serve the same functions and overlay, but one is best at this and another camera is best at this. This is the one damn camera. It's like, is $3,300 expensive on this camera? Hell no, it's not, because this is the one damn camera and first only damn camera. You can say, I don't give a damn if you're like, I only shoot sports, I only shoot wildlife, I only shoot sports action, I only shoot photojournalism, I only shoot landscape, I only shoot portraiture, I only shoot architecture, I only shoot product photography. This is the damn camera. This is the damn camera that is number one for all of those arenas. Unless, of course, you're talking about a different camera for like hardcore product photography like medium format. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a DSLR 35mm. Excuse me, well, FX 35mm. I say 35mm, I mean FX. An FX or DX camera. This is that one damn camera. That's what everybody's been asking for. And every time someone's been asking, it's like, nope, no such camera. You're going to cover all those bases, you need two cameras. One camera that's the best at this group, another camera that's best at this group. Now there is one camera. Of course, even though it's one camera, it could be lost, stolen, dropped, blah, blah, blah. So as a professional, you always need a working backup. That's something else entirely. But now there is one camera. So this camera is not expensive at all. It's actually really cheap. I mean, hell, it's $1,200 in the Sony A9. That horrible ergonomics damn camera, while it has incredible autofocus tracking. By the way, the autofocus tracking on the Nikon D850 is incredible. 3D and auto mode autofocus tracking, off the hook, incredible. Better than the D500. I mean, no comparing it to the D810, which is slower than a constipated turtle. Which doesn't matter when you talk about landscape and portraiture. You don't need fast autofocus anyway. Better build quality, absolutely better than the Nikon. This is a Nikon D500 center section. All this black plastic and polycarbonate is all magnesium on the D500. D500 front plate's all magnesium. The shutter mech assembly is all magnesium. Top plate, bottom plate, front plate, all magnesium on the D850. While it might look like another Thailand-made plastic wonder box from Nikon, underneath it is Iron Man. There we go. There's a good analogy, right? So if you have a D500, and I have a D500, of course I never tell anybody to sell anything, because everybody keeps going to ask me, oh, should I sell my D500 by the D850? Well, I'm not going to answer that question. You just need to make an informed decision, because telling people to sell stuff is issue-laden and it's unethical. I'm not going to sell my D500. Got two of them, unfortunately. If you have a D500 and you're not shooting landscape or portraiture, or product photography, there's really not enough reason to jump into the D850, especially if you're an amateur. I would say, however, if you're a working professional and you damn well need a redundant camera anyway, I would say start saving up for a D850 and having your D500 as your backup. That would be the professional, logical, intelligent answer which I would give, which I just damn well did give. If, however, you're considering both, the D850 edges out the D500 value-wise, even at $1,300 more, since it does it all. The way it renders. Peaking. Oh my God, I got so many really fast manual focus lenses that, I'm better than you are at manual focus, or most of you. Shooting at 1.2 and 1.4 is a pain in the ass and a shot in the dark, without focus peaking. That is really awesome on this camera. My awesome Zeiss lenses. If I want to nail the shot, it's spray and pray. On shooting at 1.2, f1.4, sometimes 1.8. Even though I'm really, really good at manual focus. Let me see. Like the Nikon D700 was a baby version of the D3. They both have the same sensor. Even though the Nikon D500 came first, the D500 really is a baby D850. It's like, I know this camera came second, but the D500 is exactly a baby D850. I mean, there's just no denying it. This is best for everything. The D500 is best for sports action wildlife. Not saying you can't do landscape or portraiture with it. Obviously so, for crying out loud. I'm saying it is not ideal. If you don't know why a full-frame sensor is ideal for portraiture and landscape and architecture, you need to look up like 10,000 videos on, which I've done 100 videos on YouTube about why a full-frame is ideal for portraiture and landscape. There's just no denying that damn fact. especially for wide angles. I mean, try sticking a 20mm on a crop sensor camera. Like, well, it works. It's like, yeah, but it's not a 20mm field of view anymore. Same. I was undeniably accurate to call the Nikon D500 a legendary. I was totally vindicated on that, and like I said, I will never regret the fact that I've said over this video and the prior video, the full D850 review, that the D850 is legendary, because it's the D500 and so much more. In other words, it's that and a bag of chips. So if the D500 was legendary, the D850 sure as hell is legendary. Like I said, I've only said that of 4 cameras, and this is the 4th camera I can call legendary. D850 is 100% more of the D500 for $1,300 more, and is the one camera that does it all. Renders better speculars and shadows versus the D810. D850 here got better autofocus tracking, better skin. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention on the prior video, better skin tones on the D850. Love it. Love the rendering on the D850. Love it. Better skin tones, just undeniably. Not my opinion, it just absolutely is better. You have better croppability than the D850, not that the D850 was any slouch. You definitely, sure as hell, had better, more reliable autofocus, vastly improved. I'm not just talking about speed, because you don't give a damn about speed in portraiture and landscape, really. But far better autofocus tracking and acquisition on the D850 over the D810. D810, that's been a kind of a main, unless someone had medium format doing product photography, absolutely a superior camera for product photography here on the D850. Product photographers are going to love the hell out of this camera. It's like, you do product photography and corporate gigs, and I like a medium format. It's like, well, my medium format is absolutely, the bomb diggity, but we're talking about base lens with vertical grip, $10,000. It's a lot of money. You have to spend money to make money, right? Well, what if you could do like 85, well, it's more than that, like 88% is good for a lot less money. Let's just say this camera and the vertical grip, you don't need the vertical grip for product photography, just say this camera, a lot less money, 10,000, well, 6,500 with a vertical grip, let's say vertical grip on both. Yeah, $7,500 basically versus $4,000. So for $3,000 some less, you get nearly 90% as good as medium format. This is basically poor man's medium format camera. So this camera is an incredible value. It is not expensive. Anybody that calls the D850 expensive, to me in my comments or in live stream, I just go, you're nuts. You're just nuts. It's like, compared to what? This is the first damn camera that does it all, for crying out loud, from Nikon. This is the first camera I can say, doesn't matter what you want to shoot, this is the camera. It may not be in your budget, but that's another damn issue. It doesn't matter what it is. It's like, what's the best for this? It's like, it's D850, 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 D850. It's the first time I or anybody else can intelligently and logically state that fact. It's like, what? This is it. Incredible autofocus tracking, sports, action, wildlife, architecture, landscape, portraiture, corporate photography, product photography, commercial gigs. This is it. This is it. You can't say that about anybody else's damn DSLR, much less the A9. Can't do flash photography with electronic shutter. The ergonomics on that camera are horrible. 5 frames per second on that camera is even more horrible. So Nikon pulled off a winner on this one. I will not regret calling this camera legendary. Stand by that. Not stupidly stand by it, but I'll logically stand by it based upon the points that it has. The points of what it is. So, I'm not going to tell you to sell off your D810 or your D500, so please don't ask me, but if you look at the entire picture, the big picture, like they talk about, that's what the D850 is. And it is incredible value at $3,300, since it does it all. And it does it better. By the way, the X-T2 is still my favorite camera for like grabbing and heading out the door, but that's another matter. As a side note, because I've had people ask me about the X-T2 camera. It's like, what should I sell? I said, no, God, don't sell your Fuji X-T2. Don't do that. Don't. Fuji X-T2 doesn't have the glass this has. The Fuji X-T2 does not have the high ISO performance that this has, or even the D500. It doesn't have the buffer this has either. Well, it kind of does. But this is a full frame, that's a crop sensor. But there's a je ne sais quoi. It's like, why the hell would someone drive around, you know, a really expensive, like, restored 1970 Mustang, or whatever the hell, some sort of, like, 1970s, you know, it's like, you know, a Lamborghini or Porsche is far superior in handling and electronic buttons and craps. Like, why would someone, you know, why do multi-millionaires that could own any damn thing want to drive around? Because it's cool. It's got its own thing going on. There's some things that are not in specifications regarding the XT2. Because people ask me that question, why do you like the XT2 so much? This is so much faster and better. And, you know, it's like, well, the answer to that question is also the same answer you'd ask a multi-millionaire who could buy whatever the hell they want. It's like, why the hell are they not driving in a Lamborghini? They're like driving around some like really cool but old and inferior, technically inferior, Ford Mustang or like GTO or whatever, some sort of 1970s crotch rocket hot rod, like, yeah, man, I'm cool. It's like, why? That's an inferior car. And it's the same thing because you can't judge everything off specifications. So that is the answer to, like, say, I got an XT2, you know, the D850 is really awesome, should I sell it? No, don't sell that camera. Don't sell it unless you got to. Don't do it. Yeah, the D850 is a bag of chips and all of that. Did a lot of speculating on the Nikon D850 myself, there's no doubt about that. But it is king of the heap of DSLRs, and there's no denying that either. I've done a lot of testing on this damn camera. I do not call it legendary lightly, and Nikon don't even like me. They're not giving me a damn thing. So whether you buy one off my recommendation or not, I don't make a dime. Nothing. I do beg for donation. I don't think begging for donation. I don't beg for donations. I work my butt off. I answer tons of emails and comments. I'm making less than a frigging burger flipper, says the guy who spent 6 years in college and knows 6 languages and written a dozen books. So if you want to drop a dime or even, you know, like a pizza, I'd rather prefer like a couple dollars or something. My home has probably been torn apart in Southwest Florida. I'll have to like repair it, and I don't have the money to repair my house. So if you want to drop a small donation for my reviews or whatever else, or tell me to jump off a cliff, or, you know, go jump naked into a sea of piranha, you know, whatever makes you happy. The link is below for that. So that's it. That's my review of the Nikon D850 relative to other cameras. You know, you have to take in the big picture. Like, well, $3,300 is a lot of money. It's like, no, compared to what? It's one camera that does it all. This camera is cheap. The build quality on it is Iron Man underneath the skin of this camera. Thank God for the teardown on that. I wondered why the camera was so damn loud. Of course, that's the mirror and the shutter mech together, but the camera's ringing like a bell, as it turns out, because this camera is all magnesium, unlike the Nikon D750, D500, D800, D810, on and on and on. Thank you so much for watching, and catch you later. Whew, man, I'm tired of testing everything on this camera. Almost, not really. It's been partially enjoyable. It's actually been really enjoyable, but it's been hard work at the same time. Thank you, and bye. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum.